is James Holmes, and we'll ask him to come up and take it from here.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. First of all, I want to express my gratitude for you esteemed people allowing us, me and my ABC family. Kelly, can you stand? Dan, can you stand? Thank you guys for coming out and supporting this. And just thank you, Rotary, we're good, for just allowing us just a little bit of time to let you guys know what we have been doing at ABC and what we plan on continuing doing at ABC. And thank you, Mary. And thank you, Brad. Moving on. Edina ABC, some of you may know, but most of you probably don't know, is that we've actually been here for 50 years now. 50 years, right here. Flying under the radar, doing work. Now, our work isn't necessarily making widespread impacts as far as large numbers visible in front of you on the map, but I assure you, they make large impacts. And I'll get into that a little bit more. We focus a great deal on changing trajectories. Patty from Wisconsin, you're a Packer fan. So I bet you know about the Packer sweep. If you don't, I'll help you a little bit. The Packer sweep is in the 60s. Coach Vince Lombardi, Green Bay Packers. I want to preface this by saying I am a Viking fan, but I respect greatness wherever I see it. In the 60s, the Packers won 5 out of 7 NFL championships. The point is, it's not accidental. It's never accidental. Now, the signature of those winning teams was a power sweep. And that power sweep, they ran that every single game. It wasn't a secret that it was coming. And other teams in the NFL still could not stop that. It was no secret. The whole point of it is the execution to all the fine points, all the parts working together for the better of all. That is what we do at Edina ABC, is all of our moving parts work together for the greater good. We don't actually take on very many students. This year, we're gonna have 5. So it doesn't sound like a lot. And because we don't take on a lot of students, that's why it's always a challenge for us as far as funding. Because these 2 people you see here, along with a handful of other people, for the most part, fund ABC. So you know we'll be talking to you, Brad, a little bit later. The point of it is that first I'll tell you a little bit about me, who this crazy guy is. I'm from South Minneapolis, so born in Arkansas, in a rural town called Smackover, below the poverty line. You have the poverty line here, and then I'm born somewhere there, okay? Well below the poverty line. And then this is kind of a one-pager telling you a little bit about what I've done and what I'm up to right now. And we'll talk about this in a little bit. This is the most recent book. I'm an author also, and as of right now, I've published 15 books. So they're all widely available on Amazon and other places. The books that I write are all focused primarily on 2 things: educational inclusion and financial inclusion. So some people might say, well, that's totally different. No, they're the same. they're the same. The reason why education is important is so that we can all better ourselves in our families, financially and otherwise. I will give you a personal example. That is my mother. Her name is Holmes. She actually changed the trajectory of our family. I told you guys how, I was born poor, below poor. You probably don't know it by looking at me, but that's our start. My parents got divorced when I was 12. There's 5 of us, 4 boys and a girl. At the time, my mother had not completed high school, and she didn't have a job because she was a homemaker. So think about that. You're divorced, you got 5 grown kids, you have no education, and you have no job. Now, if she would have jumped off the Mississippi Bridge, I don't think we could have faulted her. I don't think we could. Instead, she developed a plan. And she was my first organizational manager. She had a plan that involved going back to school as well as working. So she got 2 jobs, and she went to night school to get her GED. And she had organizational charts for us designed. So if I act like a leader some days, it's because that's the way I was cultivated, because I was her lieutenant. So everyone had their assignments. And if something didn't get done, she came to me. One specific example, she got in late at night after working 2 jobs and going to school very tired. And she said, "Son, the dishes are not clean." I said, "Yes, Mom, that's because Willie didn't do them. That was his assignment today." She said, "Son, I'm very, very tired. Okay, I appointed you to make sure that everything got done, so I didn't have to double and triple check everything. So I consider it your responsibility. So son, I'm gonna go to bed and get some rest, go down and wash the dishes." So I ask you, how many more times do you think my brother Willie missed washing the dishes? This is us. This is us. It's me and my siblings. And talk about changing trajectories. In essence, well, the other part of my mother's story is that her college courses, and she's got a couple degrees, she took 1 and 2 at a time. And after 21 years, she had 2 college degrees, and she ended up retiring from the U.S. Forest Service as a botanist after 31 years. So trajectories can be changed. This is a little bit about what it looks like. Just a couple generations ago, you know where we came from. This is me and my wife and our kids. We have 4 kids, and we have 4 college graduates, and none of them owe $1 in student loans. This is another part of my mother's legacy. Of her kids, spouses, and grandkids, there's 3 executive directors, 7 business owners, 2 program managers, 2 program directors, 2 marketing managers, 2 marketing analysts. My baby girl is a regional designer for JD Sports. She has the whole eastern side of the United States. My wife, a prominent attorney here. Some of you may have heard of her, some maybe not. Medical director, a couple independent consultants, and she has 4 grandkids that are still in high school. All 4 are A-roll honor students. My point is, we're trying to execute the Packer suite. We want this to be as perfect as we can make it. We're not worried about the quantity. We're worried about the quality. And we do have a track record to stand on. What do I do? I'm kind of a wildcat, different kind of guy. I don't mind admitting it. And I honor Edina ABC for having the courage to hire a crazy guy like me. And I promise not to disappoint you. I promise. These are some of the things that I do. You guys know about the books. Also have 5 companies that me and my wife are principal owners of, and that helps to fund some of the nonprofit work that we do. So in addition to that, I have what's called a Black Lion Foundation, and it's a mentorship organization as well as educational and financial training in that also. The point of that is that there are a lot of young people that could use a hand up. I will be the first one to tell you that I am personally not a believer in handouts. I am a believer in hard work, and I am a believer in hand ups. I believe that's what Rotary does, just internationally, is we're involved with hand ups. Also to the far right, you'll see the red and white and blue one, National Research and Policy Institute. That's a think tank that I started. Like, well, why? Well, what do think tanks do? They think forward. And so with a lot of the problems that we're all faced with, we can either be reactive or proactive. And we just find that the proactive results are a lot more, I guess, efficient. Let's put it to you that way, as far as time and resources. You know, we have some people that, you know, sometimes they're a little bit behind. You know, what I'm saying here is sometimes we do need to exercise a little bit of patience. I'm not saying, you know, just do everything for somebody. Absolutely not. But a little bit of patience, because just remember this. Some of the young people we work with had a later start. My personal ancestry comes straight lineage from chattel slavery. That's me. I'm an ancestor of that. I know people don't like to talk about it, but that's not going to change. And I know a lot of my Jewish brothers, one of the things that they constantly say is, never forget, never forget. So we're not going to forget, because if you study history, history goes in cycles. And whenever you're not careful, things can repeat themselves. So there's 246 years of chattel slavery, and that has an effect in a lot of ways. And there's lingering psychological effects from that. Then you have segregation and Jim Crow and so forth. I'm not making excuses at all, okay? Because when it's all said and done, everyone has to be accountable for themselves. I think that my mother is an example of that. And so I've heard people from presidents, governors, and even mayors, they're like, well, what do we do? Well, this is what you do, is you prepare them educationally, because nothing stabilizes society better or faster than a good job and a shot at success. It's just that simple. We value books. I started in this position not long ago, less than 6 months ago, actually. And one of the things that I started doing early and often is accumulating books, because we are surrounding our scholars with books. When they come to my office, there's a lot of books. We're building a small little library at the Edina House with books. The point of that is so that they have access to it and they're used to it, because there's a lot of freedom in books. In that middle one right there, you probably see The Art of Alignment. That's written by one of my business partners, Art Johnson, and it's a bestseller. It's a Wall Street bestseller. I'd encourage you guys to check it out because some of my philosophies are on that, because I think in all we do, we have to be aligned. Speaking of being aligned, Edina ABC, we are aligned. Starting with the superintendent, moving to the high school, Principal Andy Beaton and his staff are just absolutely wonderful. Absolutely, and I don't mind saying that we love them. And they have been extremely supportive for us, or with us. As I said before, we only enroll, 4 to 6 scholars per year. This year, we're gonna have 5. Pictured here is gonna be our senior for next year. Her name is Adelisa. This was the day in early June that she received the Edina High School Harvard Book Award. She was the only student at Edina that received that. There's 7 book awards given out to the whole school. She is in the top 1% academically at a rigorous institution, Edina High School. That is our template. That is what we recruit toward. Speaking of alignment, this further solidifies that, starting with my personal mission and why I took this low-paying job. Because the money is not the point. Everybody in here knows that, or you wouldn't be in this room. Is that it's my personal mission to educate and train as many young people that I come across that are willing. And then you see our ABC mission, and then Edina Public School mission. And then look at Rotary. They're all aligned. Why does diversity matter? Well, at this point, I hope that the majority of the people in this room do understand that the way things are trending in the world now is that the businesses that will be the most successful are the ones that are inclusive. It's not my opinion. There's plenty of research. You can start with McKinsey. With that said, to me, generally speaking, companies will fall into one of 3 categories. Either they will embrace diversity, they will seek to check off the boxes in order to satisfy their compliance, or they will ignore it. This is America. We have freedom of choice. Now, I will say this, is that for the ones that embrace it, the pool is not going to be infinite. It's not. The pool that we will want are the best of the best. And that is really what we're after. This further shows you just some of the data involved with inclusiveness. Every form of true education trains the students in self-reliance. So we bring these young people in from all over the United States. Generally, they're about 14 when they get here. It takes a lot of courage for their parents to trust us with the stewardship of their children. We take that very, very seriously. And so it's not a matter of just us sending them to school every day. It involves a lot more than that. We have wonderful host families. We'll get to that in a little bit. Mary was a long-standing host family. Excellent, excellent supporter of the program. And this just shows you just a little bit more about just some of the background data. And so my message is not just, hey, everybody, let's be kinder and benevolent. Yes, that would be good. We like that. But there's a flip side of that. And the flip side of that is that our young people, they have to answer the bell. You know, this is not a society that you do well with just sitting on a couch and eating buns. You know, they have to do their part. They have to put their work in, and they have to be self-accountable. Now, everyone does not like hearing that message. And I guess my role is not necessarily to make everybody comfortable every day. Dan and Kelly will tell you that. But the point of it is if we're comfortable every day, that means we're not growing. In order to grow, we have to step out of our comfort zone just a little bit. And this is a constant message for our kids, is that we have a choice. We're going to have pain no matter what. Is it the pain of discipline, or is it the pain of regret? Emerson, wonderful quote here, and it's still true. And then this kind of gets back a little bit as far as just some of the mindset, just regarding economics and finance. Look at that. Who's that smiling lady over there on the right side? These are just a couple photos. Sarah and Steve Kumagai, they're like just, some of you guys might know them. They're like just, I don't know, just, they're up here as far as people. Kelly, Dan, they are, really, our board is, to be honest with you. Mary, you guys know that about Mary. She's just up here. The rest of us are here. She's up here. It is what it is, okay? Just as far as goodness. In all these people, they are the backbone of our program, and they have been the backbone of our program for a long time. And they have wonderful legacies, and they deserve to have wonderful legacies. Mary and I sat and talked a couple days ago just about the progress from some of her scholars that she was a host family of, and how well they're doing and how positively they're affecting other things. I sat for hours with Steve and Sarah Kumagai, and they went over story after story after story of just young people that have come through our program and that are not only just affecting the United States, but affecting the whole world. I mean, we're talking doctors, lawyers, people that have gone on to positively affect society. And by the way, of the scholars that complete our program, we have a 99% college placement rate. How can we all participate? I believe that coming into the day that probably the majority of the people in this room didn't really know what we did. Some of you might have heard of us. I don't think really knew. I hope you know a little bit more now, but everybody can do something. We accept donations. You could become a host family. We still need a few more host families. You could become a tutor, because that's one thing that we do also, is that we have tutor sessions for our scholars every evening. They have study tables for an hour and a half every night. I will say this, those are the ABC requirements. This past year, what our students have done is they've taken the initiative and they've doubled that on their own. So they've studied 3 hours a night. Okay, so the Packer sweep, it's not an accident. You got to put the work in. You could become a volunteer driver. We have a kind of decrepit old van that we take them around in, you know, and they have to go places. They have to go to their events. They have to go to tennis practice. They have to go to church. You know, we could use some drivers. You guys could volunteer to help us with our annual gala. That's going to be November this year at Interlochen. And we could always use your great minds to help us to plan it. Or you could join us for Friday dinners. Every other Friday, we have dinner at the ABC house. Anyone in this room, if you want to come and have dinner with us, you're welcome to. All I ask is for advance notice so I can put you on the calendar. So you are, well, what's the reason for that? Well, the reason is like the books. I keep them surrounded in books. We also keep them surrounded with successful people of all fields so that they're used to it. They're accustomed to it. And it helps them to start to develop their networking group and organization. For example, our scholars have the cell number for Andy Beaton. Pretty cool, huh? They also each have the cell number for Stacy Stanley, Dr. Stacy Stanley. Pretty cool, huh? And a lot of others. Now, we don't say, hey, you guys got to give them your cell number. We never say anything like that. It's just been happening on their own. And think about the effect that that has on the self-esteem of a young person. You could also purchase one of these. Hot off the press. This is my most recent book, just made available really just a few days ago. We are setting up a link, you can get with Mary on that, to any of these that are purchased through Rotary. Everything goes to charity. Everything goes to charity on any of these that are purchased through Rotary. Now, I will, in full disclosure, the initial charity will be Edina ABC. With that said, we got just a little bit of time, 6 minutes for questions. Yes, sir.
Talk about how you find your 4 to 6 students every year.
We get a list from the national headquarters. And so what they track is they track the profile of what each state is looking for. Remember I told you a little bit about our profile? And right now, our house is all young ladies. Now, at one point, we did have 2 houses, and we had the guys in one house and the young ladies in another house. Well, things happen. Times get a little tougher, right? So we have one house, and so that's just the female house. So literally, they will send us the profiles, the informations, and we sort through all of that, and we start our interview process. Next question. Yes.
What cities are these kids from this year?
This year, we have them coming from Florida. We have a couple from Georgia. Well, we have 2 from Florida, 2 from Georgia, and 1 from New York. Yes, sir.
So ABC is a national organization. Are there any other high schools in cities that have similar?
No. ABC is a national organization, started in 1963. And then Edina ABC started in 1972. Now, they're affiliated, but they're separate, you know, and if anything derogatory, God forbid, was to happen with Edina ABC, you'll see real fast how separate they are. Next question. Yes.
What does it cost to support one of these students before you're high school?
Now, on our website, before we're updating it right now, an older version, it said $6,000. Okay, well, That's not accurate because 6,000 won't do it. And I will be absolutely honest with you. I cannot give you a definitive answer because it's somewhat like an amoeba. It's kind of always moving. And there are a lot of gray areas that we just kind of just take care of. Like the Friday dinners, a lot of those come straight from Hit National. That was what was previously on the website. It's more than that, though. It's more than that.
We have time for one more.
One more question.
All right, well, join me.
Thank you, guys.
Here we go. All right. Well, that's today's meeting. And with that, go forth and have a great week.